Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dread Alert. I'm Vince.
I'm Sarah.
If you're new here, we have a lot of experience with performing arts, acting, directing, and a lot of love for horror, so we feel particularly well versed in bringing you some of this horror content. Today, we're talking about news.
Yep.
We're talking about what we've been watching recently, and we are talking about upcoming horror films, and we're playing a little horror trivia.
Yeah.
So let's dive right in. Sarah, you have some news that you wanted to share with us.
I do. So the first little bit is that a creepy, unnamed horror movie teaser sort of dropped. Bloody Disgusting dropped this footage on X, formerly Twitter. And it is literally, it's not even a trailer. It is just like a teaser clip from some sort of movie. A lot of people thought that this was Creep 3 whenever they saw it, because it seemed... did you watch the clip?
I did watch it, yeah.
It did seem very much like Creep 3, but I saw an update today on this article, and Bloody Disgusting said it is not Creep 3.
Yeah, they said that it was some other unnamed project.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they would do a Creep 3 with the Creep tapes coming out soon.
Yeah.
So it was a little weird for me to think, well, this trailer's clearly
Yeah.
Creep 3.
It was very similar, though. Like, I can see why people maybe thought that it was Creep 3.
It definitely has, like, vibes from the end of the original Creep,
Yeah.
watching him down on that bench at the climax of the movie.
Mhm.
It was creepy. I
Yeah.
don't think I got enough out of it to really say whether or not I'm interested or not. I
Right.
mean, I like all found footage, so I'm going to give it a chance,
Oh,
but
of course.
it's very short.
It is very short.
And it's very out of context.
It is very out of context. And there's not a lot of actual horror. It's just a very creepy clip.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to stay tuned for that. But that was a fun little tidbit. We have a ton of popcorn buckets that are dropping this Halloween season.
And not something that we have particularly gotten into
Mm-hmm.
as collectors. And we are collectors. We collect various things.
Right.
But popcorn buckets haven't been one of them so far.
Right, yeah. So it's very interesting that we have a lot of these popcorn buckets. So the first one that I'm going to talk about that everybody has probably seen by this point is the Terrifier popcorn bucket. This is obviously coming out because of Terrifier 3 coming out. Now, this popcorn bucket is going to be for pre-order only. Cinemark, AMC, and Regal Theater are all doing pre-orders for this on September 18th. So if you are interested in getting this Art the Clown popcorn bucket, I would definitely recommend it. I am sure that they're going to sell out.
I would love to do like a whole ceiling shelf work of all the popcorn buckets that I always wanted to collect, but at this point I feel like some really good ones have passed us by. Alien Romulus looked pretty good. Cinemark's Alien Romulus looked great. I will say AMC's Alien Romulus left a little to be desired.
Yeah, that's kind of why we didn't get it.
Yeah, we went to AMC.
Yeah.
But I don't know, some of these the other two that are coming out, I won't spoil your good news.
Yeah.
Look great. Although I will say the souvenir cups look a little...
They look weird.
They look weird.
They look super weird. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Terrifier, if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. And that is September 18th. So, the second set that we're getting is Pennywise.
Yeah.
And Chucky, because apparently Bride of Chucky is coming out in theaters in October. We don't have any more details other than it's apparently coming out in October, so I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one.
I feel like we're living in 2001 again.
I don't hate it.
No, you don't hate it for sure.
But yeah, so I actually had to pull open. First of all, the buckets look amazing, and they the Pennywise one is going to be $29.99, and the Chucky one is going to be $24.99. Now, the Chucky one is actually not Chucky. It is a good guy doll.
Yeah, I was going to say it. Although that cup is clearly Chucky.
Yeah, it's horrifying. So they also have these souvenir cups that they came out with, and they look like they're a horror show.
It looks like somebody ran over a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're weird, man.
They're $15. So if you're interested, Bloody Disgusting does have pictures of these buckets and souvenir cups, so definitely check them out. But the buckets look great.
The buckets look amazing.
They look so good.
Even the Terrifier 3, I know there was some pushback saying, oh, well, we wanted this, and it's like regular Art the Clown all bloody, and we got Santa art.
Right. But it's because the movie's coming out.
Yeah, I don't hate Santa art at all.
I don't understand what the big fuss is about. I think that some people just, they want art to look a certain way, and while I get it, like, it's to promote the movie, and I know that they're going to be coming out after the movie at this point, but
yeah,
what can you do? What can you do?
What can you do indeed?
So next we have a new title that is coming to both Xbox and PlayStation.
Out on stream already.
Correct. Yes, it came out. It came out on stream.
Steam.
Steam. Thank you.
That was me. I said it first.
I know. Yes, it came out on Steam first, so it is dropping now on Friday the 13th. It is a psychological horror title called Unholy. It actually sounds pretty interesting. So, originally released on Steam, Unholy centers on Dorothea, who's on a search for her young child after they disappear from a decaying post-Soviet town. To do so, Dorothea will need to explore the aforementioned town, as well as the creepy and twisted world of Unholy, a grotesque society ruled by a relentless priest caste. Unholy will feature a unique gameplay mechanic of using 4 different emotions, anger, fear, sadness, and desire, to interact with the environment in order to destroy obstacles, trigger mechanisms, overload circuits, and illuminate your way. You can also use these emotions to confuse, lure, and damage your opponents.
It seems like there's a lot of masks involved in this game.
Yeah.
Like you have a mask that you build, and you can wear other people's masks to deceive them. I don't know. It looks interesting. I'm not sure how deep into horror it gets.
Yeah, I don't know.
I honestly don't know. But I will say it does look creepy.
Yeah.
And it seems like a pretty unique gameplay. So I don't know, maybe on like Steam Day or something when they got some big sales, I might check it out.
Check that out. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Vince, this is good news for you.
Yeah, sure is.
Halloween 1978 is returning to select theaters this Halloween.
Yeah.
So you can go to 1978halloween.com and they will show you if Halloween is playing at a theater near you.
Yeah, it seems like it's very select theaters.
Yes.
I will say we had the chance, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it was 2, yeah, we, it was the year that the Shout Factory, or Scream Factory, whichever imprint of Shout, did the 4K release of Halloween 1 through 5, and then the subsequent one.
Yeah.
It was
theater.
And I'll say those re-releases in 4K were so good. I was actually able to say, well, they're clearly showing the Blu-ray version in this theater tonight. They're not showing the 4K version. The color timing was a little different, but I don't know. I'll take it. I'll take any way of seeing Halloween on the big screen. It was my first time, my only time.
Right.
And I'm old enough to remember going to see Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Or The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6.
Yeah.
In theaters in its original run. So that's how old I am.
Yeah. No, but I was like, oh, he's going to be very excited. And then I saw that it's like not playing anywhere near us.
Nowhere near us. But the thought is there. And you can go see it if it's near you.
If it's near you, go and check it out. Support, John Carpenter. I'm sure he needs it. Next up is Little Bites. Did you watch this trailer?
I did watch this trailer.
Woo, buddy!
Yeah, I feel like this takes Babadook and goes the next step.
Yeah.
I feel like it's playing in the same thematic playground as Babadook, but like in a very, very intense way.
Yeah, it feels like there's some body horror stuff going on in there. If you're not familiar with this, so Little Bites is a 2024 horror film about a young widow who allows a nightmarish monster to slowly eat her alive in a desperate attempt to protect her 10-year-old daughter. Chris Fox, Barbara Crampton, Heather Langenkamp, Bonnie Aarons, Chaz Bono, Cher produced this film.
I saw that Cher was producing it. I was going to mention that.
Yeah. Lindsay LaRose, Mark Kelly, Christopher Alvarenga, Angel Melanson. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. L. Riot Fox, plus James A. Janice and Chelsea Rebecca of the Dead Meat channel are apparently in this film.
Nice.
So if you've not watched Dead Meat, how have you not? How are you watching us and not have watched
Right.
Dead Meat? So Little Bites is premiering at the 2024 Fantastic Fest, and it is going to release theatrically on October 4th, and I think it comes out on VOD on the 8th.
Well, we should check it out. I think it's, I mean, it looks great.
It looks very
dark.
interesting, yeah.
The monster looks cool. I'm surprised they showed as much as
they
monster.
did.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting choice too, but I feel like the monster might morph from what we kind of saw in the trailer. That's kind of the vibe that I was getting, that as the monster grows, it changes.
It looked great. The special effects work, the makeup work, it all looked very good. It looks very dark.
Cher produced it. Crazy.
Listen, I believe in life after love, so I'm here for it.
So next we have NECA announces 2 new Beetlejuice figures. So one is going to be a Walmart exclusive.
Yeah, it always bums me out when they do this.
I know.
There are independent toy stores, horror toy stores out there, believe it or not. A friend of ours runs one, and we highly support them. Mm-hmm. And it always bums me out when there's a NECA exclusive, because I always try and get my NECA figures, my NECA Ultimates, and if you look over my shoulder, you'll probably see
all of them.
A good deal of them. And not that it's not the biggest collection in the world, but it's certainly significant. And I always try and go to this one specific toy store to get them, and it bums me out whenever I have to shop at a big box store.
Right.
And the Walmart exclusive Beetlejuice looks fantastic.
I know. Let's start with that. Yeah. So this is it's a journal set as well as the figure.
Yeah, it's the handbook for the recently deceased.
Correct.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's a 2-piece deluxe set. It comes with a 7-inch scale Beetlejuice figure dressed in his signature black and white striped suit, and a multi-page handbook for the recently deceased replica journal.
Yeah. It's a bold move to go with vertical stripes. Can we just say that, Beetlejuice? That is a bold fashion choice, going with thick vertical stripes on your suit. I respect it.
And honestly, the price tag, $34.99 for this set, is pretty decent.
That's right down the middle for NECA, but if you're shopping at like a store in the mall, I've had people try and charge me like $40 for a NECA, and it always bums me out, because I know... You know, and if it's an independent toy store, I'll pay $37, $38 for a NECA Ultimate, but like that $34.95 price it's fair for what you get with them. They're really well sculpted. Like the sculpts on these look good. If you look closely enough on like John Carver, the Miner from My Bloody Valentine, all of the Michael Myers, they all use the same body sculpt, but I'm not even mad about it, because it's a really good body sculpt.
Hey,
if you got a guy in a jumpsuit.
Well, if it ain't broke.
Yeah.
And then, so the other one is going to be the Ultimate Beetlejuice Tour Guide. So both of these are based on the original Beetlejuice. Interesting that they didn't come out with a Beetlejuice
Licensing.
figure. There you go.
Licensing.
So this is going to be wearing his iconic tour guide look.
I think the face sculpt on this looks a little weird. They might be the same face sculpt. It just might be the context for me. But I much prefer...
the Walmart one.
Unfortunately, and it breaks my heart. Like, I was, like, looking at this earlier going, oh, can't you flip-flop?
I know. No, because they want to make the most money.
You know, and I have high hopes that they will release it wider after a certain period.
Yeah.
I have the Jigsaw with the red robe, which was a Target exclusive.
Right.
That recently arrived on the shelves of our favorite local toy store as well.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully it will come out. I don't know if you could fit anything more up there, but
not with that attitude, that's for sure. I've how many NECA Ultimates has it been that I fit up there since you told me for the first time I wasn't able to fit anymore?
4.
Yeah, it's been at least 4 or 5 more figures. Where you're like, where are you going to put this? I was like, there is room.
I think John Carver was the latest edition, and you somehow made it work.
No, Inferno Ghostface was the latest edition, and I somehow made it work. That was 2 before. And Predator before that, you told me I couldn't fit.
Oh, well, there you go. So Dread debuts a trailer for their new horror release, Haunt Season. So Epic Pictures' specialty horror label Dread has debuted the official trailer for the upcoming horror film Haunt Season. This one is going to be where, I guess the other one, I had these confused. So this one is going to have a limited theatrical run October 4th, ahead of an October 8th debut for rent or purchase on video on demand. So
it sounds like Little Bites is coming out everywhere.
Yes.
On October 4th, and this
correct.
is
I
coming
had them
out.
flip-flopped in my
that's
brain.
Okay.
So this movie looks very interesting.
Yeah, I think I skipped this in your rundown.
Oh, did you?
I think I went right to Your Monster, which is the next thing we're talking about,
yeah.
Your Monster. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
That trailer is still sitting with me, but I did not see the trailer for this, so I'm coming in just as cold as you all are.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, you're probably ahead of me.
So, Haunt Season is written and directed by Jake Jarvie, filmed on location at a working Midwest haunted house during Halloween season.
I'm here for it.
I know you are.
Tomorrow night we're going to a haunted house.
Yeah.
I'm like dying. I'm so enjoying being here with you all. If you're watching on replay, know that I'm enjoying being with you whenever you're watching this. But if you're watching this
on
Friday night, Friday the 13th, around 8 p.m., please know that I'll be enjoying a haunted house.
Indeed. So it tells the chilling tale of a costumed killer infiltrating a suburban Halloween haunt attraction, turning their staged injuries into gruesome real-life horrors. As terror escalates, the lines between performance and reality blur.
This sounds like Hellfest.
It is very akin to Hellfest, but without it being like also
A theme park?
A theme park.
Yeah. Now, I like Hellfest. I like the vibes that Hellfest is laying down, but I find 78% of those characters the most annoying characters to ever be on screen.
It's kind of like if Hellfest and Haunt had a baby, it feels like.
Yeah.
If you watch the trailer, you'll kind of see what I mean by this.
Haunt's a pretty deep cut. I don't know. I mean, I know that I just saw a TikTok where somebody was like, an unknown movie, Haunt, and I was like...
Is it unknown?
Is it unknown? I don't know. I enjoyed Haunt. I enjoyed Hellfest. Those are two annual traditions that we're probably going to try and squeeze in probably this weekend to get super psyched.
Oh yeah, it's I'm really first of all, I'm very excited about going to a haunted house. Secondly, if you're going to release a haunted house movie, I'm probably going to watch it.
Absolutely.
So,
honestly, we're trying to bring you content from the haunt that we're going to at some point in this season. They are friends, and we are very, very lucky to have such a good haunt within reasonable distance of our house.
And we love them very, very much.
We certainly do.
So if we do a video on that, please stay tuned and please give them love if you can. Now we can talk about Your Monster.
Holy crap. Can we just talk
so
about
good.
Your Monster for a minute?
I'm very excited.
So Melissa Barrera was a big part of the reason I had issues with the requel screen. And I felt like the performance was a bit uneven, and I thought it was really abnormal in hindsight for Radio Silence to not get the performance they needed out of her, because Radio Silence does such a good job with their films with the actors, and I'm so impressed. Yeah, I'm honestly glad that Scream 5 didn't resonate with me, because now I'm just so excited to watch Melissa Barrera's growth as a performer. I just.
You gotta watch Abigail, I'm telling you.
I know. It's on my list. It's on my list.
But
no, it's
this
so
movie
good.
looks so good. It looks like it is going to be, first of all, really funny. Second of all, it looks like it's going to be like the perfect spooky date night film. Like
dark comedy rom-com? Dark rom-com?
You also need to watch Lisa Frankenstein, because it has like those similar vibes too, because Lisa Frankenstein was a little bit more rom-com as well.
Rom-coms don't do it for me. Like almost blanket like...
But a horror rom-com?
Let me backtrack. Rom-coms outside of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Well, who hates that movie?
Don't really do it for me. That is a guilty pleasure.
There's nothing guilty about that movie.
But like, I was so excited about this. I was invested in the relationship from the trailer.
Well, okay, so first of all, her character is an actor, and I think that sort of also resonates with us. Like, they are in the industry in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I forgot
that entire plot line from the Your Monster trailer. I will say that whatever beast makeup they have going on is so good.
It's so good. I am really looking forward to this movie. I think that, like you said, Melissa Barrera looks fantastic in it. It really looks like it's going to be a fun sort of movie that's coming out October 25th.
Your Monster. Mark your calendars.
Yes.
This one, if you have any love for dark...
I might get him into the theater for this one.
Honestly, I'm counting down the days at this point. If you have any affinity towards rom-coms, dark comedy, horror at all, I hope this movie does well.
Me too.
We need more of these. These are like nice palate cleansers. I'm
Yes.
going on about this. We need nice palate cleanser movies that are still in the horror genre.
Yes. I agree with you. 100%.
That said, give me the darkest horror movie you can.
Absolutely. But sometimes you do need a palate
Yeah.
cleanser.
I've been watching too much Longlegs.
Going to bed. Okay. Dexter Original Sin gets a first look trailer and a drop date. So I'm just going to talk about the drop date. It's going to be December 3rd, which is kind of fun. We get
December
outside.
13th?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you. December 13th, which is fun because we get out of the Halloween season.
Yeah.
Set in 1991 Miami. Original Sin follows Dexter as he transitions from student to avenging serial killer. When his bloodthirsty urges can't be ignored any longer, Dexter must learn to channel his inner darkness. With the guidance of his father, Harry, he adopts a code designed to help him find and kill people who deserve to be eliminated from society without getting on law enforcement's radar. This is a particular challenge for young Dexter as he begins a forensic internship at the Miami Metro Police Department. Now, this is going to be starring Patrick Gibson as Dexter.
Yes.
Christian Slater as his father, Harry.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Christian Slater. I was seeing Patrick Dempsey in your notes going, I don't think that's the same guy. But no, you're right. It is Patrick Gibson as Dexter.
Patrick Dempsey is also in this.
I know.
Oh, yes,
I was looking ahead. Yeah, no, that's Patrick Dempsey all day, too. I'm here for that as well.
Molly Brown, James Martinez, Christina Milian, Alex Shimizu, and Rena Wilson also star with Sarah Michelle Gellar in a guest starring role.
I'm very excited to see Sarah Michelle Gellar back on screen. I have missed her since Buffy.
Yeah, and Michael C. Hall is returning to voice the iconic inner monologue in Dexter Morgan's head.
I mean,
there's going to be 10 episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So, are we done with Dexter yet?
Like, no, because they're doing the sequel as well.
That's my point. The sequel of the sequel series.
Right.
Like, okay, so Dexter was really exciting in the early 2000s. I read the novels. I was really into Dexter. I feel like Dexter started to go off the rails for me around 2008, 2009. I won't say after which part because it's a giant spoiler.
That's when I stopped watching Dexter.
Yeah, there was a giant character death that really kind of... I was like, I don't know how this continues. There's nothing tying him to humanity at this point. And so, I didn't watch the sequel series. I know what happened at the end of the last season.
No, I do too,
I didn't watch the sequel series. I'm not sure I will watch the sequel series here and catch up.
The prequel series sounds interesting to me.
That's where I was going to go with this, right? So, the cast. Christian Slater?
I know.
He's great.
He's fantastic.
And it's really nice to see Sarah Michelle Gellar back on TV. I have missed her since Buffy. Mm-hmm. I am a huge Buffy fan as well. At me if you choose to. I don't know. I
mean, there are some people that... Buffy and... We don't like them, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, Buffy's great. And so, this has me interested. What I'm on the fence about is, and I've not heard Patrick Gibson's voice. Mm-hmm. Why is his inner monologue adult Dexter if he's young
I'm
Dexter?
thinking that is
it in hindsight? Are we looking back on this?
I think we might be.
If that's the case, that'll work. But I need an actual diegetic reason for it to be adult Dexter's voice in young Dexter's head.
He's Irish.
Hey, good for him. That's excellent. Funny story. I actually saw Michael C. Hall on Broadway play the MC in Cabaret in 1998, 99, somewhere in there.
I wasn't there with you.
Yeah, you were barely born. It was very, very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, he was on the.
We got a comment saying the name Buffy is too weird for this person to watch. You know what? I understand. I think that is a fair point.
Yeah.
That but I feel like Buffy was chosen as a name to kind of make you feel that way, like it's some like extremely upper class name, this extremely fancy popular girl name. Right. But we're here in graveyards fighting vampires. But I do say, I did not get into Buffy until well into the 4th season, so that was a big turn-off for me, too.
Before the series, there was the movie.
I did like the movie, but I didn't want to make the jump to the series. I tend to be a little bit of a hard pull with reboots.
Yeah, I know. Last piece of news before we move on.
Oh my goodness.
Art the Clown's feature film debut is now available on VHS. So, the VHS comes in either standard slipcase or a big box edition. So this is going to be for All Hallows Eve. So this is the very first introduction of Art the Clown. This is the other actor who is not David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown.
This is the first feature film featuring Art the Clown.
If you've never seen this film before, I would definitely give it a watch, but know that it's very different from Terrifier.
And I'm not 100% sure the continuity ties over. They go into some pretty supernatural places in All Hallows Eve. I'm not sure where it would fit in the timeline. I do think it's worth your time watching it. I do think that if you're a fan of devious Art the Clown, Art who's not afraid to come at kids, Art who is maybe not as violent and gory in this film, but honestly, it was everything I had not to pre-order that bookcase box. The VHS is orange. It looks so good.
Yeah.
We still have a VCR, Sarah. Talk me out of this. Talk me off the ledge, please.
I'm not going to talk you off of anything.
That's not how you do this.
So the standard slipcase is $30. The big box edition is $50. They were limiting this to 100 copies. I'm surprised it wasn't sold out yet.
How are they still available?
I have no idea. It's only available in the US. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
I have no idea. So the film has been cropped from its original aspect ratio to 4:3 full frame to maximize the VHS experience, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And again, this is All Hallows Eve. This is the pre-Terrifier Art the Clown. It's even before the first movie. And it's out there. Check it out. You can find it online. I think we watched it maybe on, I don't know if it was Prime or if we found it somewhere on YouTube, but it's creepy. It's really a creepy film.
WitterEntertainment.com is where you can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
And now we want to move on to what we are watching.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what we watched this week, what we're reading this week. And I know that you were really active this week. I was a little less active. Only because we had some channel work to get done. We had a little bit of graphic design. I'm making excuses. I still watch stuff. I still have stuff to report.
Well, yeah. We watched two of the same film this week.
We did, and I squeezed a third film in and almost the entirety of a book. And I feel confident that I could talk about that book.
Okay.
At least enough.
Okay.
All right. Why don't we start with what you watched solo?
Oh, what I watched solo. Okay, so the first movie that I watched solo was Last Night in Soho. It was incredible. Edgar Wright directed. He did Shaun of the Dead. Anya Taylor-Joy stars. Matt Smith stars. And Diana Rigg is also. This is her last film before she passed away. And it actually, the beginning of the film, it says for Diana, which I just thought was really wonderful. She gives a fantastic tour de force performance in this film. If you've not seen it, this is about a young student who goes to London to study fashion. Her mother passes away. She had some mental health issues, so her grandmother is very worried about this girl studying away from the family and in this big city for the first time. She doesn't get along with her roommate in this college setting now, and so she gets a bed sit, and she starts having visions of the 1960s and this girl in particular, who she sort of follows through this very seedy part of London, and she thinks that she witnessed some murder.
Oh.
It's a very good movie. It reminded me stylistically a lot of Neon Demon. If you've not seen that film, definitely check that one out, because that one I really loved a lot as well.
Neon Demon was, and you're, to be clear, talking about Last Night in Soho.
Oh yes, I'm talking about Last Night in Soho.
Neon Demon had this vibe that was like distinctly late teens, like late 2018, 2017, 2019, that kind of era where we were doing really dramatic lighting. And if you look behind us, you know we love really dramatic, like, sort of lighting here. But the pinks and the blues, that film had such a strong stylistic, it was very It was very striking.
This film is also very striking and very moody, and
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. It might be one of my favorite things I've watched so far this year.
It's pretty interesting.
And I would watch it again with you if you wanted to watch it. I also watched a film called Marrowbone. Oh, and I watched Last Night in Soho on Amazon Prime, so if you do want to check that out, it does have ads because it's through Freevee. I also watched Marrowbone. That was on Hulu. So Marrowbone stars Mia Goth and Anya Taylor-Joy again.
I'll take Anya Taylor-Joy in literally anything if I can.
And it follows these 4 siblings who their mother is very ill, and they move from London to the Americas. She's very sick. Their father was a serial killer. And so they're trying to start a new life, and they start to see that their mother dies, and they have to stay hidden until the oldest son is 21 so that they can inherit the house properly, so that they don't get separated, and they start to experience ghosts in their house. And it is a very well acted film, and it was also a very moody, kind of dark film. So I watched these like back to back basically, and I was like, "Woo, this is I'm just doing really heavy stuff right now."
Yeah, they both sound like very Sarah films to me, which is not a bad thing. It's just right down your alley.
Yeah, I'm very much so into very moody, more psychological thriller aspects, I think. It was less slasher, more psychological horror, which is definitely more my speed. And then the last movie that I watched without you was my palate cleanser called Black Friday. Literally a movie about Black Friday, like the day after Thanksgiving.
You know, holiday horror films, there's a market for them. I think we've covered most, if not all, at this point.
Let me tell you that this film, produced by Bruce Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Bruce Campbell and Devon Sawa, and that is what got me to watch this movie.
Sarah is obsessed with Devon Sawa, and
I love him.
A nice man, an extremely nice man. If you get the chance to meet him at a convention, he's fantastic, but you sold me on this movie when you said Bruce Campbell. Devon Sawa was the icing on the cake. I do want to check this one out, and especially weird Black Friday stuff. It's not as dark. We have some chat suggestions of some movies that seem pretty dark based on the title.
What are they?
Demon Wind, Dead End, and The Prey.
Ooh.
Hey, look, I will check out some movies that feel kind of dark. Just those titles alone put me in that mindset. But this seems like it's campy. It seems like a campier.
Oh, it definitely was. So, it has some alien vibes going on there. There's like the creatures in this movie are sort of zombie-esque, but not zombies.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain what these creatures are that sort of attack these people. It feels very distinctly like the consumerism themes of like Dawn of the Dead, like people mindlessly shopping. It was a nice palate cleanser after these very dark movies, and Bruce Campbell and Devon Sawa were enough to get me to watch this film. You have me
Bruce Campbell anytime. Sub news: they're releasing a Funko Pop of Army of Darkness in one of the larger cases with the VHS background. I don't have room for it. I have a shelf above our heads here that is the whole length of the room lined with Funko Pops, and when I was planning that out, I had about 7 inches to work with, and it is just too big for my pop shelf, unfortunately.
I know. So what about you? Do you want to cover what you did solo this week?
I watched a film called All You Need Is Death. It's a film I've been trying to get you to watch with me for a few months now.
Okay.
And it was interesting. I don't know if it lands the plane all the way, but it was a very interesting film. It's about a pair of, I don't want to say anthropologists, they call themselves journalists, but they're searching for lost or obscure old songs. And they meet up with a group of folks who are all doing this sort of thing, and they sell these songs when they acquire them, either variations on songs that are existing or songs that no one has ever heard of before from antiquity. And they believe, this group that they end up joining, that there's an alchemy in these songs that can sort of, I don't know, affect reality. They say that the future is picked over and that all the beauty is to be mined from the past. And so they go in search of a new song, and they meet an old woman. And I'm 99% sure it's the woman who played Sally Hargestey in the remake, or the requel of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, okay.
And she was fantastic in her very short scene. But this song is a family secret passed down through the women in the lineage. And it, when sung, it tells a story. And I won't spoil the story. I will say that men shouldn't hear the song, because if they do, this sort of thing is unleashed. And if you break the secret, or so to speak, it can have some devastating consequences. That said, the inciting incident occurs. The old woman who passed on the song is killed. And the movie plots along at a pretty good clip. It's a slow burn to get started.
Where did you watch this?
I watched this on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
Shudder, not
sorry.
supported by Shudder. Love Shudder.
I watched Black Friday on Prime as well.
So once we get past that inciting incident, this movie moves along at a good clip. I will say the third act moves into chaos, not like cuckoo chaos, not like the movie Cuckoo, and not like some of the more chaotic movies we've watched recently. I think some of the character motivations are a little weird, and I think the ending is entirely unexpected. I did not see it coming. However, I didn't see a lot of the themes in this movie coming. There are some like sexual undertones with this movie, which again, like I wouldn't have expected with a movie about songs. Right. But these songs get in your head, and not in the way that you would typically think a song would get in your head. They get in your head and cause you to do some pretty out-of-character things if you're exposed to them. Really interesting movie about how songs and how music can affect you. And I will say that the other theme of the movie that they open with the title card, it says, "Love is a knife with a handle for a blade." So it's interesting about how love can hurt you as much as it hurts the other. Your love is placed on you. You don't love someone in the Irish language. You don't love someone. Their love is placed on you. It's something, almost a burden in some instances. But it's an Irish film. I love that. We have some friends across the pond, and I'm always excited to get a glimpse into Irish culture. I really do like it. Yeah.
What were you reading this week?
I was reading Clown in a Cornfield. I did not realize this was young adult horror when I picked the book up.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. I just wanted to bracket that because some of the things that I'm talking about in my 1-minute book reviews are extreme horror.
Right.
And I don't want folks to jump into Clown in a Cornfield and think they're going to get Gone to See the Riverman. It's a different thing.
Maybe people want a palate cleanser.
Hey, honestly, and I really am enjoying it for a palate cleanser. It's like I don't even want to say it's less violent than Thanksgiving. Of course, this is words and not images. So,
right.
But it has a very distinct Thanksgiving vibe to me. Most of the action.
Dark Harvest.
Not as vintage vibey as Dark Harvest. Although in some ways the town is sort of stuck back in the olden days. So this is about a small town. A girl and her father moved there after her mother unexpectedly dies. He's a doctor. She's a high school student. She's a senior. A year prior, there was a big accident. Somebody died. A young girl died. And the town is known. When they move into the house, she notices out of her bedroom window there's corn everywhere. It's in the middle of nowhere. And she sees a factory where they made corn syrup, and their mascot was, I believe it's Friendo the clown, something along those lines. And he's a big old clown. These kids are causing trouble with their YouTube channel. I'm not a kid, but we're all causing trouble with our YouTube channel, I guess. And so I think what is and where I'm at in the book, probably like maybe a quarter of the way to the end here.
Okay.
Somebody starts picking these troublemaking kids off, and they probably would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for some other menacing kid who saves the day. But
nice.
Honestly, at the end of the day, it's a cool book. I'm having a great time. It does feel a lot like Thanksgiving. Most of the action takes place on Founders Day, where the founder of the town. It is an isolated kind of feel to the story.
Yeah.
But not necessarily like Dark Harvest vintage. We got a question. What would be the best horror story that I read?
Oh.
I would say, my favorite of all time dark novel is House of Leaves.
Right.
I've read it multiple times. Every time I enter the house on Ash Tree Lane, I come out a different person. I think it affects me deeply when I read it.
Yeah.
And it feels like that book bleeds over into your life when you're reading it. Like, it weird synchronicities. You get very absorbed in this labyrinthine book.
Yeah.
It may be my favorite novel of all time, even if Mark Z. Danielewski's other stuff doesn't resonate as hard with me, although I think all of it's great.
Yeah.
It doesn't come to the level of House of Leaves. My favorite horror author of all time is Stephen Graham Jones. The Indian Lake trilogy is outstanding. I'm
still in the middle of reading
My Heart is a Chainsaw.
My Heart is a Chainsaw.
My Heart is a Chainsaw is excellent. Don't Fear the Reaper is probably my favorite, and this year's Angel of Indian Lake is such a good conclusion to that trilogy. I have all three. I'm looking at them on my bookshelf over there. They're amazing. And then I would probably say, in terms of like some of the darkest stuff I've ever read, Brother by Anya Alborn, which we just did a 1-minute book review of, was twisty and twisted. It explores manipulation and abuse. A young boy is adopted, so to speak. I'm not going to ruin any plot points here. Adopted by a group of cannibalistic serial killers, a family of cannibalistic serial killers. The mother figure is extremely abusive. The father figure is an enabler for that abuse. And they abduct women, hunt them down, and eat them. Money is scarce and food is scarce, and so that's a good solution. Our main character goes through a whole journey of self-discovery, wanting to leave, meets a girl, and she's into him too. She works at a record store. He gets records. He's listening to music. He's experiencing this world outside of this isolated family. Think the Sawyers in Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of vibe. And then I would say his world comes crashing down because of his narcissist brother. It is an excellent book. And when I thought a twist was coming, and then they were like, "Oh, it's not going to be that," and I was like, "Oh, good, thank God it wasn't that." And then they're like, "Just kidding, it's that," and I was like, "Oh no!" And then another twist happens. Anyway, Brother is probably one of my favorite true horror, dark horror novels. I wouldn't call it extreme horror, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's not far off.
I would say that my favorite is Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. I've read that book multiple times, and I think that a lot of people could argue that maybe Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, Manhunter are all sort of horror adjacent.
Yeah, they have a strong element of police procedurals, but I think Red Dragon, of all of them, focuses on Francis Dollarhide so strongly. You get such a glimpse into his head. You get a glimpse into James Gumm's head in Silence quite a bit as well. But I think Francis Dollarhide's the more frightening for me.
Yes.
Then again, I'm not a woman,
No, I definitely agree with you on that. I just love that book so much. I think it's just so masterfully written, and I mean, I am endlessly fascinated. I was so excited when in the Hannibal TV series they got to the Francis Dollarhide stuff.
They barely got there. Yeah, they had trouble finishing the coverage, the close-ups at the end of that season. They ran out of time with Richard Armitage, and they ran out of money. But
he was so good.
Hannibal is a show that I would love to see revived. It is an excellent TV show. And Red Dragon is probably one of my top 10 all-time favorite books, so I think you chose a good one there.
And if you haven't seen Manhunter...
I was going to just say, I can't read Red Dragon without thinking of William Peterson going, "You knew they were in there, didn't you? Didn't you?" Just going so hammy with it. Oh yeah, no, he's great.
We love that movie.
So yeah, Clown in the Cornfield. So far, I recommend it. I can't wait to see how this story wraps up. And I'm also reading the graphic novel Plunge, which is a gory 80s throwback graphic novel. I mentioned this last week on the live stream. I haven't put a ton of time into that. Up next is Tomie.
I was going to say Tomie.
And then I picked up, this is also news, Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King is adapted into a graphic novel. They adapted it in 2017, but the deluxe extended version with cover galleries and things like that just hit Amazon, I think, in the past few days. It's going for $35 in hardcover. Paperback's a little less, somewhere around $25, a little less than $25. And on Kindle, it's about $12 if you want to read something on a tablet with your Kindle app. I would say that I'm very excited to dig into a Stephen King-inspired graphic novel. We just came across Creepshow in the Wild. That's back in print. the actual Creepshow comic. So that's a bit of news and other things that I have lined up. Hopefully these get turned into 1-minute horror reviews as well as my own entertainment. Hopefully they turn into my entertainment as well.
Correct. Yeah. We're just gonna make sure that we are also entertained.
Yeah. We watched a couple of things together.
We did. We watched The Black Coat's Daughter, which you did a video on today.
We talked about that today. Yeah. It's no secret that I was loving Longlegs.
Were you?
I did. Yeah. No, if you watched our live stream, was it last week or the week before? I talk about how that's a horror comfort movie for me, and I watch it while I'm falling asleep a lot of times. The slow burn of it just kind of puts me at ease for some reason. Don't get me wrong. The first time I saw that movie, I was white-knuckling some of it. I found it very suspenseful. But I needed another dose. I needed that, like, Oz Perkins fix, and so
This movie definitely gives you that.
We bought it a while ago. We bought it probably, I don't know, the day after we saw Longlegs, maybe right around the time we saw Longlegs, or maybe in preparation for it, but we never got around to watching it, which is a common theme with us. Our to be read and to be watched lists are long. I loved it.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought it was a slow burn. I was talking with someone on TikTok today who mentioned they didn't like it the first time they watched it, and then when they watched it again, they were really, really into it. And I will say I watched it, I got about 30 minutes into it. It was late at night. We have a young child, so it was difficult. It was a particularly long day. So I started it over with you.
Right.
And I'll say my first complete viewing, I thought it was great. The first time through, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I was just very tired.
Yeah. I definitely, it's a very good movie, though. I thought the performances were really good. Kieran Shipka, in particular, was very good in this film. She plays Kat. And I also thought that Emma Roberts was really good in this movie.
Yeah, I thought she did a nice job. Now, these are both familiar faces in horror.
Yeah.
Kieran Shipka in Longlegs. Emma Roberts popping up in Scream 4.
Scream 4. She also did Ryan Murphy stuff.
American Horror Story. Yeah, absolutely.
She was in the one Coven, which is one of the only ones that I watched because it was about witches and it had Stevie Nicks in it.
Gotta love Stevie Nicks. Gotta love Stevie Nicks.
So, I had to watch that particular season. But yeah, it was a very good movie. It felt very much. You were saying that somebody was like, "Oh yeah, these could be in the same universe as Longlegs." It feels like it is a precursor to Longlegs in a lot of ways. Was it you?
Yeah, that's somebody.
I wasn't quoting. You weren't quoting anybody. That was just what you said.
No, but honestly, there's nothing prohibiting it from being in the same universe as Longlegs. I feel like it could be.
Except Kieran Shipka.
Well, listen, if Devon Sawa can be in every season of Chucky.
That's because he's the best.
Yeah. But no, honestly, I think it is a proto-Longlegs. From some of the snowy landscapes, to some of the framing devices, to the subject matter, to... it's not a spoiler to say there's no creepy dolls in Black Coat's Daughter.
No.
But Oz Perkins, man, he's working through some stuff. With some dark spirits there, and I'm glad he's doing it on camera for us all to enjoy, because I thought it was a really well-paced, a really creepy, and visually stunning film. I said the same thing about Longlegs when we left the theater as I said in my review of The Black Coat's Daughter, and that's that I would be happy to have literally any frame from that movie on my wall. I would hang it up as artwork, to which a friend of mine said, I want the bus stop.
Right.
I want the bus stop frame. I was
Which is a good one.
Yeah, Longlegs at the bus stop.
Yes.
We have a question.
Yeah.
Would we ever consider writing horror stories? Now, I talked a little bit in the comments about this, about I'd written a play in the past. I don't necessarily fancy myself a writer. I had always enjoyed writing in my earlier days. But performance direction, producing theater, producing YouTube, and getting into the technical aspects of this, and talking on camera has always kind of taken precedence over writing. Now, you are more of a writer than I am.
Correct. Yeah. So I've written a couple of more plays. So a lot of the stuff that I did was based on myths and sort of delved into horror. I I created a whole character that was literally a ghost. So, you know, I think that I would not be opposed to it. I would just need to have like the right story to tell. And I don't necessarily know if I have that yet. But I'm definitely not opposed to it.
I think what's interesting is a lot of when we talk about our production experience and our, you know, directing, producing, acting experience, a lot of that happened in theater. And a lot of the theater that we did was inspired by myth or horror theater. We actually had carved out a small niche doing horror theater, and I don't know. It's been a long journey here. It's 15 years ago that we started the company, or just about maybe 14, 13,
14.
But so we have a long history of storytelling in that space. But again, it's about finding not only things from your own life, because we could pull from our own life and build a story.
Oh, absolutely.
But like finding the story that is emotionally relevant. The best directing advice I ever got was learn math, learn science, learn English, so that when you have the chance to say something, you have something to say.
Yeah, who told you that?
That was David Wayne from MTV's The State and Wet Hot American Summer. Wow, I went with The State. Wet Hot American Summer and its subsequent series. David Wayne is an amazing guy. I very much so respect that advice and have taken it very seriously. And right now we have something to say with the channel.
Right.
Right now we are trying to promote a message of positivity in the horror community. I feel like not every horror film. I feel like there's been a lot of horror films that people have positively jumped on the bandwagon for that maybe I didn't really like as much as other folks.
Right.
But at the end of the day, what our whole mission here is finding something to like about every film, because there have been some terrible films that I just truly enjoyed something about and latched onto, and built a whole respect for the film out of. And so we're trying to just bring a love and an appreciation of horror, and a love and an appreciation of the technical aspects of making live storytelling or cinematic storytelling, and blend those two things together. So it's about having something to say right now, and that's why we're not writing. That's why we're talking, because we do have something to say about this genre.
Yeah, and that's why whenever I said, like, it would need to be the right story for me to sort of write it down, that's what I mean, is I would want it to be something that I'm, like, truly passionate about. And
writing plays, just going back to the chat here, writing plays is really similar to writing fiction.
Right.
I think that what you need as a playwright is a mastery of realistic dialogue.
Yeah.
And you need that as
that's the hardest
You need
part.
that in prose, too. But what you don't have as much of, you have an efficiency of description of setting, an efficiency of description of action with a playwright. You leave that to the director to flesh out. Whereas in prose, you need to have an extremely large vocabulary and an extremely descriptive vocabulary to really set the location, time, place, and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But we did watch one more movie together. And,
we did.
It was probably my favorite. Well, I don't know. Blackcoat's Daughter's up there. This might be my favorite, tied with Blackcoat's Daughter of the week.
Well, so it's interesting because I really felt like between Blackcoat's Daughter, this movie, and Last Night in Soho, I really don't think I'm ever going to get, like, a trifecta of, like, fantastic films.
Yeah.
So we watched Hush.
Finally. We talked last week a lot about how we hadn't seen this movie. The news is that it's coming from Shout. It was released from Shout earlier this year on Video on Demand.
Yeah.
A remastered version. Now, Scream Factory, the Shout imprint, is releasing a 4K version with 4 discs, a black and white shush version of Hush. We need to get it. We do. I definitely agree with you. And also, we had a subscriber mention in our Final Girls video, our Final Girls ranking, that Maddie was one of their top Final Girls. And so I want to just give some love there, because you're right.
Yes.
You're right. If I had that video to do over again, Maddie would at least crack my honorable mentions, if not be number 5 or number 4, because I thought that was an extremely great performance by Kate Siegel.
Yes.
And I thought it was an extremely well-written character by Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
And I thought that how do I want to say this? The trope of a final girl making mistakes was not present in this movie at all. Even though mistakes were made, they weren't stupid mistakes. No. Everything was extremely well thought out. So much so that being well thought out was a plot element.
Yeah, I know. It was so good. Yeah. I thought that this movie really just encapsulated what a final girl is, and I agree with you that I was just enamored by this character. She was so tough, and also had that vulnerability because she is, has this, she developed meningitis when she was 13. So I thought that that was interesting that she was not born hearing impaired and mute, is that she became that over time.
Did you read the back of the cover of the book? Did you pause the
yeah.
So I paused it and I read the back cover, and they give a lot of exposition on the back cover of the book. And I'm not going to name the book because if you haven't seen this movie and you watch other things from Mike Flanagan, there's a giant tie-in, and it comes in the name of her novel that she published. She's a writer. She writes horror stories. She had a surgery that left her mute.
Yes.
And left her permanently hearing impaired.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting as well, because it was something that was, she had a chance to recover.
Yeah.
And then something happened to her. A trauma happened to her that she had to fight and come back from. And so it was like a double trauma. I really thought it was an interesting choice.
And she overcame that and pursued her dreams, and then was now fighting this person who showed up, and that was the man was played by John Gallagher Jr., who was also in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Thought
if
he was
you've
great
seen
in
that.
Yep.
But I know John Gallagher Jr. because he was in the original Broadway production of Spring Awakening.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I did not know that. He's done a lot of stuff. He was in another film, and it's escaping me right now. But yeah, no, in 10 Cloverfield Lane, you are correct. And it was, what a different performance from there. It was a very relatable, very empathetic performance in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
And Samantha Sloyan at the beginning of the film as her friend Sarah. And if you've seen Midnight Mass, you have seen Samantha Sloyan as the worst character to ever exist.
Did not put that together. She was so...
She's amazing.
Yeah, what a wonderful performer.
I know.
Because Midnight Mass, that performance is completely different.
If you've seen Midnight Mass, you know what we're talking about.
The whole time you're raging at this character in Midnight Mass, and
you're still so good.
And having so much respect for the performer who's making you rage that hard.
She's in Fall of the House
I
of
know,
Usher.
we need to watch it.
Need to watch that
because
she was so good. I knew that you didn't recognize her.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So I always talk a lot about concepts of the slasher film, and this is a true slasher.
Yeah.
But it's also a home invasion movie.
It's both.
But, same thing with, like, Black Christmas. You can have, they can cross over.
It can be both.
Now, I talk a lot about this, and I'm quoting Men, Women, and Chainsaws, Gender in the Modern Horror Film when I talk about this, because I think that is a heck of a book from the late 90s, early 2000s, I want to say somewhere in there. But they talk about how the final girl, and the reason men specifically relate to the final girl so well is that it makes us feel vulnerable. We have a person who's notably weaker than the force that they're fighting against, and yet somehow they serve as this counterbalance, this restraining force on this force of nature that's coming in to, in most cases, enact some sense of vengeance and justice for a wrong that was done to them. Jason drowned, Michael was unattended as a young boy, and we all have the Charles Lee Ray, maybe not so much. Charles Lee Ray got shot and didn't really want to, but we have this unbridled force of nature kind of thing going on, and this weaker physically and more vulnerable person who is much more aware, much more attuned, and mentally can get through this. So I do always find it interesting when we see these final girls like Nika in the Child's Play series or Maddie in Hush, who have some sort of disability, and yet while we feel more vulnerable because of it, we can't hear the killer behind us, we can't run from Chucky, they find a way to persevere, and then I feel so empowered by the end of it. I can't imagine how the character would be feeling. I think it's such a cool dynamic to play with, and also cool representation for folks who may also suffer from those disabilities. I think that's a wonderful thing to see on screen, and especially when it's a prevailing character who overcomes this obstacle, who's not killed in the first act or something like that because of their disabilities. They succeed because of their disabilities.
Exactly. And I think that one of the other reasons that this movie succeeds so well is that Mike Flanagan is not afraid to play with the sound design in this film in particular. He really lets you get into that same mind space as Maddie is, and it is so interesting
and well established. Early in the film, we go mute whenever whenever she's cooking, and so we place Chekhov's shotgun, for lack of a better
Yeah.
term, so that we know later in the film that's going to
come back up.
We know certain devices around the house are going to come back into play. I saw this happen in the first 10 minutes of the film, and I was like,
but it's so good.
I know. I don't even mind that I'm watching these seeds being sown, and then
so
they
good.
develop into these beautiful, like, plot trees, and I get excited. Yeah, I know. We've rambled about Hush for, like, at least 10 minutes
sorry.
here. No, it's deserving
I know.
of our
so
rambles.
Good.
Hush was just a heck of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are gonna maybe talk about why don't we talk about what's up at the end of this September? Just let's give some dates and some names for what's coming out here in the next week or two.
Yeah, we can do that. Speak No Evil, finally coming out. I'm sure we're all grateful that we don't have to see that trailer anymore.
I caught an ad. We don't pay for the additional Prime Video without ads, and I caught an ad for it before a movie on Prime.
Yeah, and I love James McAvoy, don't get me wrong, but I'm really tired of seeing that trailer.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only one. Hereafter is coming out on VOD and digital. So this is starring Connie Britton. It is about a woman who's excited that her daughter survived a fatal accident, but it seems like there is something evil at play.
We have The Substance, which is a film we're both looking forward to.
Yes.
Seems like a body horror, sci-fi horror. I don't know if it leans sci-fi, but
no idea.
That Substance seems pretty scientific to me.
It does.
But no, Demi Moore. We're back. She's coming back to the genre to join us again.
Correct, and Margaret Qualley, who looks fantastic in this film. Bagman is coming out. So when a sinister threat from his childhood returns to haunt him, a father desperately struggles against his deepest inner fear. Only this time the fight isn't for himself, it's for his family. Starring Sam Claflin, who's actually in Last Night in Soho.
And both of those, The Substance and Bagman, are on September 20th.
Yes. On the 27th, we do have a couple of things coming out here.
Yeah, we got 3.
Yeah, so we have Never Let Go, which is starring Halle Berry.
Yep.
And that movie looks very interesting to me. It's got a lot of hype surrounding it. I think Halle Berry, we're going to see a bit of a resurgence from her because of this movie.
You're happy to see it.
I'm thrilled to see it. We also have Azrael, which you're very excited to. I think you were very excited about the description of this film.
Yeah, and just the sort of occult associations with the name Azrael. It all is ringing my bell.
Yep, and that is starring Samara Weaving. And then we also have Apartment 7A, which is our prequel series to Rosemary's Baby. I'm sorry, it's not a series, it's a movie. A prequel movie to Rosemary's Baby. And that is coming out directly to Paramount Plus.
We're going to have to add Paramount to our stable of subscription services. We don't currently subscribe, but we are big Rosemary's Baby's fan.
Yes.
Rosemary's Baby fans.
Rosemary's Babies.
Rosemary. She only had one. One is all you need. One is all you need.
Whenever it's the devil, that's all you need.
That's all you really want.
You want to talk about Uzumaki?
Uzumaki's coming out on September 28th.
Yes.
And I wasn't aware of this before, so I can't say finally, but it feels like this was a long journey to the screen. That's going to be on Adult Swim. Really makes me excited. Really something I'd like to check out, especially with Tomie up in my comic reading list coming up next. So that is Junji Ito, a manga by Junji Ito, and can't say I'm not excited.
Yeah, and then we have a ton of stuff coming out in October, but there's way too much for us to cover, so tune in next week and we'll talk about some October horror that is coming out. And I have to add, the one thing that I will say is that they changed the Salem's Lot date again.
Yeah, they did.
Salem's Lot movie. Last week I said it was coming out on the 11th.
Now I hear this is the same director as the Conjuring films for Salem's Lot. So that's what I hear, and I'm gonna go with that because I haven't heard anything different. And it strikes me, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this film because this has been about to release for a very long time.
Oh, it's been, I mean, the fact that we didn't have a date for so long, and they initially thought it was going to be released into theaters, and it's not. It's going straight to Max.
I'm worried it's going to suck.
Well,
I'm worried that we're going to have to find something to love about it. Now, and you can tell the difference when we're talking about when we find something to love and when we watch something like Hush or The Blackcoat's Daughter, and we're absolutely over the moon for it.
mm-hmm.
We're probably going to watch this. I'm a Stephen King fan.
Yeah. Salem's Lot has never been, like, my biggest thing. I don't... If we're doing Stephen King, it is more up my alley. Cujo. I actually really love Cujo. I remember seeing that whenever I was very young.
I almost asked you what's really up your alley. You're like, it's really up my alley. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh no, It. Yeah, no, It. The most popular Stephen King.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took you a long time to come around to It.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to sit her down and convince her that checking out the Bill Skarsgård version was worth it.
We saw it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But
it was like weeks into its run. I had to like really...
Yeah, well, that's because I was traumatized as a child by Tim Curry's Pennywise. Yeah. And so that really made me fear clowns for a very, very long time. And I think that It Chapter 1 was the first and only time that I've ever screamed out loud in a movie theater.
Yeah, you have nerves of steel. When we visit the haunts this year, I will say I am the one who is jumpy, and I always get made fun of. Mm-hmm. To the point where the haunt actors that we're friends with offered to teach me how to run a chainsaw, which I do know how to do, just so I would be less jumpy around them. And I don't think that would even affect it. I'm just jittery.
You're just a jumpy guy.
But they got you. Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård got her.
It's going to be a long, long time before Nosferatu gets released, and we're going to have to talk about Bill Skarsgård. And
I can't wait.
Him Bill Skarsgård the whole time.
I love it. Bill Skarsgård for the win. Why are we not all calling him Bill Skarsgård?
Oh, also The Crow is coming out on VOD in case you wanted to check that out. I'm not sure anybody does.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are interested in checking out The Crow. It did not seem to do well at the box office. I'm a giant The Crow fan. I actually if you're interested, Amazon's Comixology has the deluxe edition available digitally for about $3 right now if you don't have the Crow comics, the original Crow comics. So that's available right now for very cheap. I picked that up last night when I was getting Sleeping Beauties.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know how I'm gonna watch The Crow at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be The Crow.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of how a lot of people felt about it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, it's 10:07. I think we still have a little bit of time here.
Do a little bit of horror trivia and embarrass ourselves.
Hey, I am never embarrassed when I learn something new for the day. The rules of the game. We're playing horror trivia. That's the name of this game. Yes. It's a card game. Yes. There are no multiple choice answers here.
Correct.
Unlike the Spirit Halloween horror trivia game we played last week. This is know it or don't.
All up here in the brain.
No process of elimination. To win, a player must collect 3 unique weapon cards.
Separate ones. Yes. Because we did this incorrectly the first time we did this.
We did do this incorrectly. If you were one of the people who saw our first stream, which is now a private video, because it was our first stream.
Yep.
And we needed a little space on that one.
Yep.
We played
happened to catch it.
We played it incorrectly. And you don't need to match 3 of the same weapons cards.
I feel like I would have won then.
You may have won.
How about that?
We both take the win on that one.
Okay.
Basically, what you have to do is there are 5 weapons cards.
Yes.
5 or 6, I can't remember. You have to get 3 unique weapons cards.
Okay.
You can pick from either pile.
Okay.
For that person, so there might be some strategy involved. If you see that there's a chainsaw up, for instance, and I already have 2 chainsaws, or no, I already have a chainsaw, a crossbow, and a crucifix.
I could really get you.
You can get me.
It's a game of strategy.
Yeah, it is. You got to be thinking.
Do you want to rock paper scissors to see who goes first?
Oh, you're challenging the master.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Rock paper scissors shoot. Rock paper scissors shoot. Rock paper scissors shoot.
Oh.
All right.
I will concede.
I'm going to ask you a question first.
All right.
All right. Oh. Now you have to get both questions correct, right?
Yes, if you get both, that's a great point. There are 2 questions on a card. If you get the first answer wrong, your card is forfeit.
Correct.
Your turn is over.
Correct.
If you get the second question wrong, your turn is over. If you get both correct, you receive the card, and it goes into your weapon stockpile.
All right.
3 unique weapons, and you win.
This is for a chainsaw.
Oh.
The first question is, what are the names of the demon hunting brothers in the television series Supernatural?
Dean.
Uh-huh.
And the guy who's not Jared Padalecki. I don't know. Look, I'm not the biggest...
I know, I've never watched the show either, but I do know both of these characters.
Well, enlighten me.
It's Dean and Sam Winchester.
Somebody out there watching this is having... I saw the answer to the second question.
Well, yeah, so the second one was, who is the actual father in Rosemary's Baby?
Oh, are you kidding me? That is not cool card. Not cool. I shuffled these. I can't even be mad. I'm the one who shuffled them. All right. For a chainsaw. It's like all chainsaws. For a chainsaw.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even see it.
What type of virus is unleashed in the 2016 movie Train to Busan?
What kind of virus?
Yeah. What type of virus is unleashed? What type of virus is unleashed in the 2016 movie Train to Busan?
I've never seen Train to Busan. Mm-hmm.
But you could probably guess the answer to this.
I'm going to say a respiratory virus.
That's a tough call, man. It's a horror movie. You know, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
The correct answer is zombie virus.
Oh.
I was like, you could just guess this one.
No, I went real like.
This is actually the first card we looked at when we opened the deck. We've not looked through this whole deck, but the second question is, what 2014 horror comedy movie is about beavers becoming zombies?
Zombievers.
Yes, you remember?
Yeah, I do. I remember.
You're like, how do you know this? I'm like, how do you not?
Yeah, you are gonna get this one
okay.
though. So, what is the name of the main character who studies witchcraft in the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
That's Willow Rosenberg.
It is. And now,
Buffy's great. Buffy's great.
You also know this question.
Okay.
Michael Myers' mask is supposedly based on what famous actor?
William Shatner.
There you go.
Thank you.
I knew you were going to get it. I didn't even
need
need to look at the answers. Yeah. I also knew those questions.
Yeah, I got a machete. All right. Would you like a machete or a crucifix?
I don't care.
I
don't have any.
I'm going to give you a crucifix.
I have 0.
I don't know if you know this one.
Okay.
Who wrote and directed A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Wes Craven.
Let me check the back.
Mm.
It's Wes Craven. It's Wes Craven. How many murderers are revealed at the end of the movie Scream?
The original, 1996. So there's
it just
2.
says Scream. Yeah, it says it's 2.
It's Billy Loomis and Stu Macher.
Oh, there's no extra credit on the cards. I can't give you another crucifix.
No. Well, I'm going to give you a crucifix, too. All right. What character is revealed to be the werewolf in the movie Silver Bullet?
I have never seen Silver Bullet. The dad.
It's the priest.
Oh. That's why it's a crucifix.
You do know the second question.
Well, let's do it for funsies.
In what movie does the government sanction an annual 12-hour period during which all criminal activity is legal?
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
All right. It's a machete or it's a crossbow. I'm not reading these questions. I'm just basing it on the weapons.
Mm.
Ooh, I should know the answer to this, and I should have known the answer to this. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Who hosted the original series? Who hosted the original The Twilight Zone TV series?
Oh, I don't know why Boris Karloff is in my head, but I don't know.
It's Rod Sterling.
Oh,
I know, it doesn't make you sad. I know, right? I know. I should have known it. I don't know why
Boris Karloff was in my head, but...
Boris Karloff's frequently in my head.
It's true.
Robert Englund plays Freddy Krueger in what horror movie franchise?
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's correct.
All right.
You could have blocked me. You could have given me another machete.
Oh, I forgot what the rules of the game were. This 2010 movie involved unwilling participants in a Nazi doctor's sadistic experiments.
Oh, I know this one. Son of a... I know this one. Oh, man. I think it was a female doctor, if I'm not mistaken. I cannot remember the name of this movie. I pass.
The Human Centipede.
Oh, no. I was thinking the entirely wrong movie.
The entire... I was like, you don't know this.
I'm in the completely wrong... Oh, that's so sad. I've never seen The Human Centipede.
No, me either.
It's
not my kind of movie.
Yeah.
Like, no. I already know going in that it's not going to be my type of movie, so...
Yeah, I don't know if it vibes with me. I don't know if it passes my vibe check. I'm not into gross out horror for gross out horror's sake.
It.
I like dark horror, and if there's gross out elements, I'm all for it.
Right.
But yeah, if it's not going to be furthering the plot, I guess it is the plot. But like, if it's not going to further,
literally the plot.
It's not going to further other themes within the plot. And let me know in the chats. Am I wrong about this? Is Human Centipede worth checking out? I don't know if it's my thing. I like Saw. I like the Saw series. I like Hostel. But I think those have some other undertones of themes that are, well, Saw's just a fun soap opera. I'm gonna offer you an axe. Can I offer you an axe in these trying times?
That would be great.
What snack is Tallahassee searching for in Zombieland? I know you've seen this. We saw this in theaters.
Yes. What snack is Tallahassee searching for?
I don't know the answer to this.
Pop-Tarts?
Close. Do you want to take another stab?
No, it's okay.
Twinkies.
That's right.
It's been a long time since we watched Zombieland.
Since I've seen that movie.
Okay, how about this one? The serial killer in Scream wears a mask inspired by Edvard Munch's painting. Is that a question? Or by which Edvard Munch's painting?
Is that a question?
The serial killer in Scream wears a mask inspired by which...
I remember the painting.
Bro.
Is it Scream?
It's The Scream.
The Scream?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's The
Card's
Scream.
off the table anyway. It's in the discard pile. We're not doing well tonight.
You're gonna know this one. It's okay. Oh no, but you can't use it. This is for the block. I didn't even realize it. The director of Drag Me to Hell is most famous for what other horror franchise?
Evil Dead.
Yeah. What day does Tree have to relive over and over in the 2017 movie Happy Death Day?
That would be her birthday.
There you go. It's the same one. I didn't even realize it.
I wouldn't got this.
Good.
Just look at the answers. Yeah, okay. What movie's tagline was, "Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water"?
Piranha?
No, Jaws 2. The question I wouldn't have gotten is, what 1970s pop music icon starred as Nikki in David Cronenberg's Videodrome? I've never seen Videodrome.
Oh, I know this.
You should know this. This is like your favorite human being alive.
Debbie Harry?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Okay.
Your literal favorite person outside of Stevie Nicks.
That's true. So this HBO TV series was based on novels by Charlene Harris featuring a telepathic waitress named Sookie Stackhouse.
Oh, True Blood.
Yes.
Sookie.
What 1986 horror movie features cameos from Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons?
What 1986
horror movie features cameos from Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons?
Is it a franchise movie?
No.
I give up.
Trick or Treat.
Oh, not Trick or Treat.
Yes, not to be confused.
I've never seen that movie. I should probably see some movies.
Watch some films.
Yeah. Ooh. I know you've seen content surrounding this.
Okay.
Kevin Bacon stars in what 1990 film about a group of people fighting for survival against giant worm-like monsters hungry for flesh?
Tremors?
You nailed it. What Rolling Stones ballad is sung by the demon Azrael as he possesses bodies in the Denzel Washington film Fallen.
What song?
Yeah, he sings a song every time he possesses someone.
Every rose has its thorn.
It's a Rolling Stones song,
I
Sarah.
don't know.
Time is on my side.
I would not have gotten that.
It's a good
not
movie.
a big Stones fan.
Oh yeah. No, that movie's good.
I wouldn't have known that. I don't think that even if I knew that film, I would have known the song.
Honestly, Sarah, it is like it. By the end of that film, you're sick of that song. There's a lot of that song in that film.
What 2013 film was inspired by the Amityville horror story and features paranormal investigators?
Oh, we were just talking about it. Oh my gosh. It's on the tip of my tongue. We were literally just talking about this movie. I'm glad there's not a timer here because it's Patrick Wilson and it's Vera Farmiga.
Farmiga.
The Conjuring.
Yes.
Jeez
Good
Louise.
job.
My brain is stopped. Oh my goodness.
This 2014 movie involves a widowed mother who becomes worried when her son asks her to read a scary pop-up children's story book. Yes, it is.
Well, I got a crucifix too now.
Yeah.
Okay.
How exciting for you.
At the end of the film, let's try this again. At the end of the 2001 film, The Others, what did the mother, Grace, figure out about herself and the children?
They were dead.
They were dead is the exact answer on the back of this. All right. This answer's obvious, but you didn't like this movie.
Oh, okay.
In the 2009 film, Paranormal Activity,
yes.
What object did the spirits use to communicate with the living?
Cameras?
What object do people use to communicate with spirits?
A Ouija board?
A Ouija board.
Oh. Okay.
I was like, this answer's obvious.
That's why I was like, what? I'm not a big fan of paranormal activity, but I'm going to have to watch the new one that's coming out.
Well, what's special about this?
Oh, wait, no, that's
VHS.
not. That's VHS.
Yeah.
They occupy the same space in my brain.
You disliked both.
It's pretty much. I don't like a lot of found footage, so. Oh, that's a good plug for our found footage that you have never seen. Go ahead and watch that.
We have a video, top 5 found footage films you've never seen. It's actually a cool film, or cool video.
It is. It's a cool list of films, so
that Sarah will tolerate.
I will, yeah. Most of them I will tolerate. I've seen all of them except for
Milk and Cereal, which was something I strong-armed onto that list because it was a heck of a film.
Right, but I do want to actually watch that because it seems very interesting.
62 minutes, just do it.
Yeah. In the 1984 movie Silent Night, Deadly Night, who does the murderer dress up as?
Santa.
Yes. What movie franchise that began in 2004 features torturous traps, self-amputations, and buckets full of blood?
That would be Saw. Now I'm just gonna mention a bunch of movies, and then hopefully we get questions.
You win.
Yeah. Do you want one more?
I'll do one more.
Just so we can say we tied. I won first.
I mean, you kind of gave me the other card.
Okay. Ju-on was the inspiration for what American horror film? We were just talking.
The Ring?
That's Ring You.
Oh.
We were just talking about her. She's going to be in the Dexter series.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah. It's her 2000s.
Oh, The Grudge.
The Grudge, yeah. Now this one,
I think that's what I was like thinking in my head, but like I said The Ring because that was the only one that I could think of.
No, we had like this like wave of J horror that came. It was good.
Yeah, in the early 2000s.
I would not have gotten this one. I did see this film, but I probably wouldn't have gotten it. Subjects believe they are part of a study on insomnia and end up being terrorized by Hugh Crane's ghost in what 1999 film? Would not have gotten it.
I don't know.
The Haunting.
Oh, interesting.
That film didn't like excite me.
Yeah.
90s horror is like either right in my soft spot for nostalgia.
Or like it's just
or I was like,
weird.
Yeah. That movie was one of the ones that I was kind of like meh on. I remember like the ending took place in like the fireplace or something.
Well, that's why I hadn't seen Urban Legend for such a long time.
Urban Legend's a good one.
Because I always just thought it was a Scream knockoff, and I was like, I'm good. And then I watched it, and I was like, why was I sleeping on this film for so long?
It is a Scream knockoff.
No, it totally is, but it's like a good Scream knockoff.
I would probably say that I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, it makes the cut too.
I still Know What You Did Last Summer is also good because it has Brandy in it.
Yeah, I'll take Brandy. I'll take Brandy in the front room too. Hopefully we get out to see that.
Yeah, we'll see. I've seen some mixed things on it.
I have seen some
far.
mixed things as well.
Literally, right before we started filming, I saw a TikTok from somebody that I respect their opinion quite a bit, and they were like,
Yeah, I heard that they were pretty much done with some of the nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear? Were you overhearing me?
No, I think I saw a similar, if not the same TikTok.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what happens on TikTok.
Yep.
It's all curated.
All right, friends. It is just about 10:30. We've been on for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Sarah plugged our top 5 found footage films you've never heard of. That's a great video. Up next for us, hopefully in the next day or so, we're going to have 10 North American folk horror films to give you a lay of the land on the subgenre so that you can wrap your head around what's good and what maybe to avoid.
Yeah.
Although we like all of these films, so go check those out. Keep posted to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's definitely helping us out, and it definitely helps you out when you get all these cool notifications about videos that we do.
Yes, yeah.
It is way too late for us to be up. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us. If you're already subscribed, thank you for doing that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and jump on that subscribe button. It's free. And as always,
stay spooky, my friends. Have a good night.